Hey guys, so in this week in Multicultural Education in a Pluralistic Society, I read chapters 10 and 11. So that's kind of closing out what we're going to do as far as reviews go, and kind of wrapping up, bring it to an exciting close. These were the two best chapters I probably read. They talked about the different phases that students go through um, in their life, and such as like adolescence and then growing into young adults, and why it's so important to help guide them into becoming young adults. You want to help them in the best way that you can, preparing them for the rest of their lives. And then it also talked about how to keep students engaged in the classroom, which all teachers, do struggle with at points in their life. And then also it talks about teacher-student relationships and the importance of that. So those are the topics we're going to talk about. But to start out, we'll talk with something that many of y'all should know about, and that's just the different phases of life. So when the kids enter into high school, right? So from 13 to 18, they are adolescents. All right, and in the adolescent years, kids are trying to figure out who they are, right? They're trying to figure out which groups they fit in. Who am I going to hang out with? Should I get involved in sports? What should I do if I if I do too well? Am I nerdy? Are kids going to like me? They're worried about all these different types of things. How are they going to fit in? And they're worried about defining themselves. So figuring out who they are as people. Okay, that's the adolescent phase. Now, it is very important for teachers to help out students in developing who they are, knowing where they might fit in. Even though, I mean, honestly, people can fit in anywhere they want to. It's just because you are considered something, or like, let's say you play sports, you're considered a jock. Doesn't mean you can't have friends that are like, I don't know, just normal everyday people, or like nerdy, play Dungeons and Dragons too on the side. Like, it doesn't, it really doesn't matter. But it is important for you as a teacher to help students in learning who they are, defining who they are, so that way they can start to figure out their life and get themselves on the right track. Because the next phase after adolescence is the young adulthood. Okay, that's 18 to 25. And that's when kids go off to college, go off and start their careers, go start their jobs, do whatever. All right, that's what we are preparing these students for in education itself. Okay, so when the kids are growing up as adolescents, you also need to be instilling in them as a teacher, hard work, good morals, how to stay actively engaged, or how to, even when it's boring, how to settle down and actually do the work. You need to be teaching your students all these different types of things, aside from just content in your classroom. Content is very important. I mean, that's what teachers are paid off of, is, how well the students can do on the end of the year test. All right, but you want to make sure that content is not the only focus of your classroom. You want to have a focus of helping each student, which every student is different. Some are come from low economic backgrounds. Some have different types of cultures. Some, are from suburbs, maybe expecting a little bit more than a student who's just from a low economic class. Or, every student is different. So you need to get to know every single student in your classroom and help them out in figuring out who they are, what they want to do with the rest of their lives, finding a job, all that different types of things. So not only is your job as a teacher to teach content and to help the students get the best grades that they can get, and improve upon their reading skills, their ability to write, their ability to comprehend knowledge. Okay, all that is fine and dandy, but you need to also be helping students figure out what it is that they want to do with the rest of their lives, what defines them, and in figuring out who they are, you are also getting to know them. You might be able to suggest a few different routes in life that they can take, things that they enjoy. Okay, that's important. I wish that I had teachers that would have helped me out, coming from my neighborhoods, and helping me out figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life. I had to figure that on my own once I got to college. I didn't really have much help with that. So it's important to help students out with that. All right. The other thing that these chapters talked about, and this was more in chapter 11, but it's how to keep kids actively engaged in your classroom. Okay, you need to be culturally responsive as a teacher. So you need to look at the demographics of your classroom. You need to look at how many, which students are where, how many students do you have that are from this different portion of life. You need to listen to what they have to say and adapt to their learning styles. All these types of things you should work into your lesson plans every single day. So if you know you have a student that is from Mexico, right, and you're about to do a unit on the Mexican revolutions, you can include a lot of Mexican heritage and then ask questions, within the appropriate boundaries to the student that is from Mexico. Ask them about life. What's it like? That way, other students are figuring out about new culture, and you are also learning yourself and being able to incorporate that kid into your lesson. And he's going to be thankful. He's going to be engaged. He's going to be like, yeah, so this, and this is like this, and yeah, what you guys kind of understand to be is not actually how it went down. This is, he's going to stay engaged. He's going to learn a lot more. Okay, incorporating different students' cultures. Everybody in the room is going to learn a lot more, especially if you create a social structured class. If kids are talking, if they're comprehending, they're figuring things out, they're thinking on their own, and they're getting actively involved in the classroom discussion, then that kid is going to learn. They're going to do great in your class. All right, so that is very important, keeping kids engaged. And like I said, make sure that you know the learning styles of your kids. If you're just up there giving lectures and telling them to read, and you have kids that are like kinesthetic learners or even audio learners, auditory learners, they can maybe when they read, listen to an ebook or something like that. And then for the kinesthetic learners, switch it up, man. Have activities in your class. If you're just up there lecturing, the kids aren't going to retain a lot. They're not. Okay, so you need to be the best teacher you can be. You got to switch it up. All right, and also the last thing that it talked about that I want to talk about, it's the most important thing that a teacher can do, and that's in teacher-student relationships. Okay, teacher-student relationships are the most important thing within the classroom. If you don't have relationships with your students, then you're not doing your job, in my opinion, as a teacher. I mean, how many of you guys, and this kind of is the question at the end, but how many of you guys wanted to have more help and more guidance when you were in school, or you wanted teachers to be able to interact with you and think about you? You wanted teachers to care. That's exactly what these students want. All right, that's what they want in life. That's what they want in your classroom. Okay, so you need to be engaged. You need to care for students. Every student's different. Get to know your students after class or after they finish work or whatever. Teach the content. Teach it to the best of your ability. Help the kids to grow and learn and comprehend, but also make sure that you are actively engaging your students in conversation just about life. And it will do wonders for you and this student. All right, and besides, if you're not actually caring for your students and wanting to get to know them, why teach? That's the whole point, is to make a difference in their lives. And so if you don't really care about their lives, you just care about the content and the paycheck, then it's not really the right job for you, homie. But yeah, anyways, so that's that. Those were the major topics. Just basically the overall thing to remember from these two chapters. Just care for your students. Keep them actively engaged, and be considerate that be mindful that they are actually developing and they're growing and they're learning about themselves, and you're supposed to be the one to be helping them out and all that. All right, two things that I would improve upon that this chapter, these two chapters talked about were number one, definitely prepare students for their future. Okay, if you're not preparing students for their future, then you're not doing your job anyways. All right, number two, engaging students in the classroom. Make sure that you are incorporating every single student's background or every single student's opinion, trying to get it in there at some point in your lessons and your units. All right, engaging in the classroom is vital. Also, two things that I would put into practice are basically having students at the center. So just like I said, having students at the center of your lessons is the most important thing. It'll keep them engaged, and it'll definitely benefit both you and the students. Number 2 is the relationships. The relationships are the most important part of teaching. So make sure that you are constantly creating new relationships with different students. If you don't know a lot about one student, go over and talk to them after class. Get to know them a little bit. Just let them know that you care and that you're there for them, and you will see amazing benefits. So my question that I've already talked about is, did you want teachers to care for you more in high school? And did you want them to help guide you in achieving what you want to achieve in life? If you answered yes to either one of those questions, then you should also be doing that in your classroom. All right, guys. Thanks. See you.